This is Devin, and welcome to Writing Daily, the show that discusses how to be a better writer, to write more often, to stay on course and trajectory in getting your novel, your book, your nonfiction set of essays, your short stories, your poetry done and to your liking and being happy. This is about writing daily. Barbara, thank you very much for being here. So here's the thing. Today's episode is about rejection and how do you deal with it, because it's going to be one of the things that you're going to face as a writer. Just to check in, my name is Devin Galaudet. I am the editor-in-chief of In the Know Traveler, and I am also the author of the forthcoming memoir, 10,000 Miles with My Dead Father's Ashes. I also have an MFA. I don't discuss that too much, but it's an important component. In other words, I take writing and my writer's life as a serious thing. And if you are even looking to write better letters and Hallmark cards to your grandmother, then this is the show for you. And if you're serious about your writing, then definitely stay tuned, subscribe on iTunes. Please consider liking the like buttons or the wow buttons or all the things that inspire you to let me know that I'm on the right track. So that all said, today, one of the things that I was talking about with yesterday's episode with the fantastic writer David Rockland was, sort of like when things don't go your way. I mean, the hope is that you sit down, you write something, it takes you 20 minutes, and then 2 days later, it is a monstrous success and everybody's offering you six-figure, advances. In general, that's probably not going to happen. And my experience is, as it turns out, really, really common. The fact that I have an actual publisher, a publisher who's into me, that is actually spending some money on marketing on my team, is like, that is really obscure. Like, that doesn't happen very often. So, but that said, even though I'm really happy with my publisher right now, for the most part, there is a downside to all of this. And the downside is that once you've finished your work, you have to put it out there. In other words, it would be great to say, I'll just, I'm going to self-publish it and everybody will find it and that'll be that. And that's not the case. And I sort of knew that from day one when I was at the last bookstore in downtown Los Angeles, and I was up on the mezzanine and looking down on the first floor, which is just filled with books. And not only that, around that same mezzanine is filled with even more books. It's like that place is crammed with books. And so that means, on the one hand, I have to compete with all of those people for everybody's attention, for everybody who wants to read a book. I have to somehow find an audience. So it's kind of a needle in the haystack kind of thing. But that's not only true in sort of just regular cultivating an audience, but on a bigger level, the same kind of thing is happening with all the people who want to sell books. And not only that, once you sell your book, so there's going to be all these different stages of dealing with rejection. Probably the first and foremost is your own sort of negative self-talk that may be happening with your own writing. I know that it was happening with me, and sometimes I had to put that book aside. Julie, thank you for being here. So I had to put the book aside so I could get over my own sort of neuroses over it, because the story I was telling needed to be told. Right? It was a very personal story, and I knew that it had relevance to a larger audience. But that all said, that doesn't mean that I lived with some sort of amazing thing where I wrote and felt fantastic about every sentence. No, I kind of questioned every sentence, and I think that's ultimately what writing is. But once I got to the point of, okay, I'm doing this thing, and I have to do this thing. No matter what happens with this thing, I'm going to absolutely for sure finish this story. But once that process is over, once the book writing is done, then you have to start looking for either an agent or an editor or a publisher to help get your word out there and to make sure your book actually looks and smells and is shaped like a book with pages and all that kind of stuff, right? I would totally love to tell you that I wrote this book and I sent it to the first person, and the first agent said, "Oh, I love it. That's fantastic. We're done. And then we'll just move this ball forward." That was absolutely not what happened. I sent my book out, and I believed in my book, and I totally believed in it, and it was still a fairly exhausting process. But I sent that book out I think I sent it to about 60 agents. Of those 60 agents, I think 6 of them responded. And I thought I had a really pretty great query letter. But I sent it out to 60 agents. I got 6 responses, and 6 responses. Matter of fact, one of the responses I got was, I love everything about your book. I think your book is fantastic. It's beautifully written. I love the dialogue. She made these huge list of comments. Elizabeth Gonzalez, hey. So I get this long list of wonderful things about my book. And sort of the last line was, oh, but I'm not representing you. Good luck. I wouldn't change a thing. So what does that do for me? It does nothing, actually. It's a little bit defeating. But worse than that is that anytime you put yourself on display in any way, it's hard not to take it personally. I remember doing a songwriting symposium, and this is 25 years ago, and it was a room full of 250 people. And truthfully, there was a lot of professional people in the room, and I was just like this ridiculous, drunken songwriting person filled with angst. And so I get up in front of the stage and I sing a song, and it's called, and I wrote it with a buddy of mine, and we were drunken then. I think it was called, I've been drinking longer apostrophe N than you've been breaking my heart. It's a cute little sort of country-ish kind of song. And so I get up and play this song, and the guy who was running the show was the guy who discovered the Beach Boys and went on to be their manager and was kind of like a big deal in the industry, at least kind of like in more old school way, but did really well. And he was sort of like the MC, the host and organizer of this event. And so I get up and I play this song, and he's holding the microphone, and I finish playing, and I'm not feeling confident. And he says to me, young man, if you had an ounce more of an idea, you'd have an ounce of an idea. And as you might imagine, in front of 250, then he proceeded to pass the microphone around to seemingly every single human being in the room who had some sort of a negative comment to say about the song. Was the song the greatest song ever written? No, it wasn't. Did it deserve sort of the scathing response that I received? Probably not, but be that as it may, I received this ridiculous scathing response, not just from him, but from a handful of other people who felt that that was the way you go. So my point of all of this is that when you write and you put it out there, there are going to be people who are not going to see it with the same sort of love in their eyes as you. They're not going to take into consideration the work that you've put in, the hard effort that you've put in. What they're going to do is they're going to have that reaction. And there's like this thing called an internet troll. So that means there's people running around writing negative reviews just because, you can make a 1-star a choice on Amazon. And do I think that's a fair and reasonable thing? No, I don't actually. But here's the thing. We can argue about whether or not this kind of thing is a right or a wrong thing. But the truth of the matter is that anytime you put your book out there, you can expect that somebody is not going to like it. Even if you were writing a book that's just to enlighten and delight children and it's beautiful, there's somebody who's going to find some kind of a fault with it. There's something wrong with the cover, or there's something wrong with the packing material. It doesn't even matter. The point is, and this is something that I initially thought, okay, well, with my book coming out, I will write a preemptive strike to all the readers who are not going to like my book. Like I thought, okay, here's a category, like I swear in the book, so I'm going to swear, and I'm going to tell all the people who don't like swearing to not buy my book. Well, that'll fix everything. So anyway, I'm sitting with my editor, and the editor, or not my editor, but with the publisher, and he's like, here's what you do. You write the best book that you can. You promote the hell out of it. You keep showing up no matter what, over and over again, with the absolute understanding that somebody's not going to like it. And that's just what it is. And it's not personal. And the beautiful thing is that I'm not trying to enrich the lives of every single human being on the planet, because that's an impossible task. What I can do is hopefully write a book that other people are going to identify with, or find humor in, or love my story or something, because those people are out there. But I have to put it out there in order for them to find it. They're not going to find it by mistake. And so it's this double-edged sword that you keep throwing it out there. Connie, I know you love to swear. It's wonderful to see you. So it is one of those things that you just have to keep trying. So if you're writing and it's not going to appeal to everybody, you can expect somebody to probably say some sort of a smart, snarky, inappropriate, bordering on offensive thing. And the truth of the matter is, for the most part, it's really not even personal. Like, somebody's just angry at the world. And so I have to embrace, how do you deal with this? What you do is you embrace the fact that you are not going to be the perfect end all be all for everybody, but you're going to keep trying, and you're not going to take it personally, because it really isn't personal. I know that people have bad days, and maybe they read the wrong sentence at the wrong time and decided to write the wrong review, because that's just the way it is. And so what we try to do is not internalize whatever negative criticism we get. What we try to do is do the very best job that we're capable of doing, and put our work out into the universe with the understanding that we are not looking for the trolls. We're actually looking for the people who are going to identify and appreciate where we're coming from, which is going to be unique for everybody. We all have different aesthetics. It's not, one person likes purple, another person likes blue. Great, whatever. So we do the best that we can. And we try to leave the door open so the purple people can like our book, so the people who like red, and we do the best we can, but we're not going to cover every single base for everybody. So that's what I've got today. If you like what I've got going on, please consider hitting the like button or the wow button, or leaving a comment or asking a question. It may become an upcoming podcast, and I've got some more interviews coming up, and we will be here tomorrow for Writing Daily, because that's what we need to do to keep our work thriving, is to write daily. Anyway, thanks for being here, and we will talk to you again real soon. I hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks.